Welcome back to the NPK Show, episode 6. We're potting up, we're transplanting today and getting bigger beds for our clones.
Well, I'm glad you've actually mentioned that because...
No, back downstairs, not again, not for this episode. I've had enough of you and your clones. You need to leave them at home.
So can we have T2 back?
No, I'm not having 2 years. But we are on the hunt for clones to transplant. Today's all about potting up and transplanting. And we are looking at methods involved in potting up. You love potting up.
I love it.
It is one of your favourite aspects of growing.
Definitely, and it's always an overlooked aspect of growing.
Definitely. Our aim is to create as little stress as possible when you're potting up, because potting up is probably the second most stressful thing a plant can go through after chopping off limbs when you're doing your cloning, like last week.
Well, nobody likes the limbs to be chopped off, do they, Stephen?
No,
so it can be a bit of a stressful time if you get your limb chopped off.
Yeah. So we're going to be potting up, we're going to be transplanting, we're going to be taking the clones that we created last week and potting them up, and we're going to be taking the seeds that we popped last week and we'll be potting those up as well and showing you all the top tips and the products you can use when potting up to create as little stress as possible.
Yeah, so stay tuned to watch me pot up and Stephen to
He's all thinking
assist.
Missed a trick, but he's doing all the work, so I'm happy. Do you want to get into the lab?
Let's go.
Come on. Right, we're back in the lab once again.
Yeah.
This time, it's transplanting and potting up. An important point to make though, because some people say, that's the same thing, but we've made a difference between the two. Transplanting is taking the clones and the seeds that we popped last week and putting them into their new pots, their new homes.
Into their first...
Their new house,
yeah,
their first step on the ladder.
Yeah, their first rung on the ladder.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And potting up is exactly what it says. Established vegetative plants, put them into the big pots, ready for flowering.
So you can enhance the root zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because when you place a plant into a pot, it will send the taproot straight to the bottom, and then it will spiral round the outer core. So when you have a small pot, like so, the taproot runs to the bottom and spirals round the outside. It doesn't go through the middle. So when we then transplant this pot up, all of this outer root core is then in the centre of the next plant, in the next pot that has been potted up to. So then you have a dense root zone.
Plenty of tips to absorb nutrients.
Where
absorb water.
if you placed a small cutting, a rooted clone or cutting, into this pot and decide that's going to be my end pot, it will grow root straight down to the bottom, round and the outside, and there will be no density of roots within this.
Is that when you take a plant out of its pot and the cocoa just
falls away? Yeah. Because there's no density. And not only that, more roots give you
big fruits
and more root fruits.
The reason that we transplant as well is because if you don't transplant and you leave them where they are for too long, they're going to become root bound in the pot, and like Thomas was saying, when it circles and circles, we haven't got enough root tips to absorb nutrients and absorb water. And you said before, didn't you, it's similar to having a bag. If you think about having a bag over your head and trying to run a marathon, how far are you going to go?
Not very.
Exactly. So how do we pot up? What's the first stage?
Well, first of all, potting up can be a bit messy. You've got bags of cocoa, bags of soil, mud. It can get everywhere. So get yourself a mixing tray, bucket, sheet, whatever it may be. We've got a 1.2 metre square flexi tray here. We've got some DNA cocoa wood coke. We've got some Dutch Pro all mixed soil, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got it in the tray. We've got some pots. We've got some plants. We've got some clones. What have you got on your side?
More pots. I've got some nutrients that we're going to talk about a little bit towards the end of the potting up stage.
Okay. And I've got a scalpel.
Good. What's that for?
It is.
Whoa.
to open my bag of cocoa.
May I lend a scalpel?
There you go.
Thank you very much. We have got 2 different bags of media because not everybody uses cocoa.
No.
Not everybody uses soil. And there's different amounts of water capacity that both medias can hold. So it's important that you know the watering cycles for your type of media.
Top tip, potting up. So here we have a, what would you say litre pot that is? 11 litre? Yeah,
pot,
11.5 litre pot.
6.5, I think they are.
6.5 litre. It's a bit tight, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not going to be wanting to pot up in that.
Why wouldn't you want to pot up in that, Steve?
Well, here's a challenge. If anybody records a video potting from a 7.5 litre pot into a 11 litre pot, you win a 4-pot auto-pot system from us.
Yes.
But you've got to show us exactly how you do it.
We want to see the complete video.
Challenge.
And it can't be any longer than a minute long.
Yeah. And you're not allowed to use P1 now.
So,
Don't go there.
perfect potting up.
Oh, thank you. I picked those pots.
Would you like to put some media into that pot for me, Stephen?
I will.
Now watch, pay attention. Here's Stephen doing some proper work. It's very rare.
What I like to do, and these are things that are coming to me as I'm doing it as well. If your cocoa or soil's been stored for a while, they come on pallets, they get compressed. So before you start potting up, get your hands right in there and dismantle the clumps.
But while Stephen's taking forever in a day, tea just comes in like this. Yeah, whilst he's still massaging his cocoa and the soil, tea's done.
Well, that's the benefit of cocoa really coarse. It doesn't tend to compress and it doesn't give you lumpy lumps. So get rid of the lumpy lumps in the soil.
Top
Or
tip.
just use cocoa.
Potting up.
I'll do that. See, I'm not going to have you call me out for doing all work. I will do a little bit in this way. It's much easier. And just dip the pot in. Dip the pot in. And like Thomas has done there, he's filled it and left 2 inches from the top. And I'll do the same from mine as well. Just leave a little bit from the top, and that allows you to backfill once the clone or the seedling is in there.
Okay.
Should we put these away?
Okay. So, I've got myself a plant.
Oh, it's a fancy plant.
That looks okay. So, I'm going to grab some of this. I'm going to place it there a second. Sometimes it can be beneficial to actually use a little bit of moisture. So, if that's a bit too dry, a bit of moisture never hurts anybody. So, a bit of moisture, and what that's going to do, that's going to stop that really dryness, yeah? So then, I can actually build it up and it will stick together.
Like building a sandcastle.
The sandcastles, we all love to build sandcastles.
You got a little bit too excited then about sandcastles.
Okay, so, bit of moisture.
Before you pot up, I know that you like to take the plants to spa. This, as we've said, is probably the second most traumatic experience a plant can go through after taking clones.
Especially when I do this to you. So, you get your 2 fingers, place them there, hold, flip it upside down, little bang, hey presto.
You'll notice this is not yet root bound. You want to pot up before they become root bound. As soon as they start to become root bound, you're already on the downward spiral. This is the perfect stage to pot up. Just as the roots have hit the bottom and they're just about to start to circle, that's the perfect time to pot up. But before you do that, we're going to take them to spa. And how we're going to do that, we're going to add some beneficial bacteria and mycorrhiza in there. This is the spa, the beneficial bacteria and the mycorrhiza. This is eco-fried charge. Beetle poo, or insect frass as they call it. And what we do, take a little bit of it, sprinkle it in the bottom, and pot right away.
So, we went from that position, 2 fingers, tucked into there, perfect. Collect what's remaining, a little handful out of the bag, get that all nice and tight there, And Robert's your sister's brother.
Just look at that soaking.
Now it's Steve's turn.
Okay, you did yours well. Now mine's going to be even better. So, same again, but with transplanting now. Thomas showed you how to pot up. I'm going to show you how to transplant. May I have my clones, please, beautiful assistant?
Thank you.
So, here's the clones we took last week. Lovely roots starting to form on it. And what we're going to do, take our 2 fingers, make a little hole in the pot. But wait a minute, I haven't taken my plant to the spa either.
Would you like me to hold your plant?
Whole day while she's waiting to go to the spa.
Okay.
In this instance, I'd like to use a product by Extreme Gardening called Azos. This is a nitrogen fixing bacteria.
Is this these little critters again?
Little critters again. And this is absolutely perfect for the young ones because it's going to help them absorb nitrogen. And if you're giving them a mineral feed, sometimes you can overdo it. You can't overdo it with Azos. So you can either sprinkle a little bit there, or take the cutting and say, wiggle your tush in there, love.
Yeah. So like one of them lollipops you used to dip in the sherbet.
Oh, do you remember them?
Okay.
Lovely.
There
Now,
you go.
the important thing about this is making sure that the Azos is in contact with the roots. That's the most important part. You put it on top of the Azos you sprinkled in, backfill a little bit, and then just top the pot up. You're right, Thomas, this is a bit of a messy game, isn't it?
It really is a messy game. And if you're doing this in your, I don't know, your mum's front living room and she's got a new cream carpet, be prepared to get her shouting at.
See, books don't make this type of mess. And there you go. Potted up clone. Perfect. Right, step by step done. You're now all fully professional at potting up and transplanting.
5-star generals you are now.
Just like me, and yeah,
That's up for debate.
okay. Plastic pots, good pots. We've always used them, been around for decades. But now, as always, technology moves on.
Evolution.
Evolution of the plant world. What have you got? That looks like a lampshade. Have you brought that from yours?
Well, it does actually look like a very funky lampshade, doesn't
You
it?
probably take
Disco
that on now.
lampshade.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this? This is a prune pot, oxypot.
Yeah.
And it's got some strange looking nipply things on it. You know what, Stephen? I'm looking at this pot and I've just noticed something.
What have you noticed?
It's been put together the wrong way.
Has it?
Yeah,
This is a common mistake.
it is.
A lot of people will just put this plot together and not really think about what's happening in the
Some
pot.
of you might be thinking, what do you mean put the pot together? So you get a screw.
Great selling point about this pot is when you go to buy 10, 20, 50, 100, you come flat packed.
Like this. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And the right way is with the nipples inverted out. So the roots grow out of the nipples, and just as they penetrate the exit hole, the light,
Your use of language is lovely.
just as they penetrate the exit hole, the light severs the root
Exactly.
and it stimulates the growth within the plant.
Yeah.
So, fold away pot, these get put together like so. You have a base, different colours determine a different pot size. Put it about 2 nipples up, and basically you just put that there and fold the pot. And it all should slide together nicely. You have your blue screw and you simply
Screw the nipple.
screw the nipple.
Good thing that Thomas mentioned is the orange base tray. He moved up 2 nodules.
Like so.
A lot of people will put that straight at the bottom, but the way Thomas has done it allows any moisture to run off, and you're not going to get any build of water and lack of oxygen and yellow in plants. Really great pot.
That's the oxy pot.
A big step up from plastic pots. They come flat packed, lots of oxygen to the air pruning, no root bound, phenomenal pot.
Lots of oxygen to the air.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of oxygen in the air, and there's going to be even more oxygen at the roots.
Okay, well that's my oxy pot. What have you got?
I've got something even better for me.
Let's see.
Cloth pot. And I've chosen Smart Pot because Smart Pot were one of the first people to bring out a cloth pot. So I thought it's only right to give Smart Pot a little bit of credit.
Well, can I just jump in and just give a big shout out to me pal Dusty.
Dusty. Yeah.
He was the person who first showed me a cloth pot, and it was the Smart Pot because they are the originals.
Yeah. These come with the labels on them. Number 1, number 2, different amount of litres, obviously different amount of gallons as well. The Smart Pot is quite expensive compared to some other cloth pots that you can get, but just hold one of each in your hand. The difference in quality is it's Premiership level versus Division 3 on some things. So if you can afford to get the better quality cloth pots, do so. Reinforced bottoms and the material is just a lot better. Now, works in a similar way to the air pot. As the roots try to grow out, they get air pruned off. You won't get a root bound plant. You're going to get lots of root tips, which is where all the water is absorbed and where all the nutrients are taken up, and also where all the oxygen is taken up as well.
See that though, what I want to know is what you do with it once you've finished growing your plant. Do you just throw them in the bin?
Would you like to know what I do with them?
Yeah.
Take out all the media, obviously.
Okay.
If I had any pest or disease, especially disease, I wouldn't use it again. Or I would wash it we love this mild bleach solution, don't we? I'd wash it in a mild bleach solution to get rid of disease. But if you've had a clean plant and a lovely lifespan on your plant, throw it in a pillowcase, put it on a mild wash with no detergents, and just throw it in your washing machine.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I do with them.
Very good.
These are just great pots, and I insist and urge everybody, if you're still in normal plastic pots, this is a great investment to make. You're going to notice instant results. So there you go, air pots and cloth pots.
And plastic pots?
For the people who like to keep it simple.
And square pots and round pots?
Yeah. There's a whole variety, isn't there? And maybe one day we'll do a whole episode just on pot. Maybe one day. So, we're top tipping our way to the end of episode 6. What is your top tip for potting up tea?
Well, my top tip for potting up is, I've had people say, right, I'm in a 5 litre pot and I'm thinking about potting up. I've said, that's an excellent idea. Excellent, that's what you need to do, brilliant. And he said, however, I'm thinking about potting up into a 6 litre pot. I said, well, best of luck with that one, because that's going to be like a Rubik's Cube or a Japanese...
A Rubik's Cube.
A Rubik's Cube, because you're going to have some difficulty. And the reason being is because the pot isn't large enough to pot up into.
I think we need to get them onto the show to show you how to pot from
If
5
anybody
to 6.
knows how to pot up from a 5 litre pot to a 6 litre, we would love to have you on the show.
Yeah, and we will give you a prize.
So, top tip, if you're going to pot up, try and pot up to double the size of what you originally had. So if you're in a 10 litre pot, what's 10 and 10, Stephen?
20?
So, that means what pot would we like to pot up into?
A 20 litre pot.
Excellent. Now that's my personal preference. It's not textbook, it's not scientific Stephen book, it's tea book. Take it or leave it.
A lot of people like to get this small tiny plant and put it straight into a 20 litre pot. So what's going to happen is, what do? You water the 20 litres of cocoa or soil, and the plant's only that big, it's only got a tiny amount of root on it. So start small and build your way up. That's why we've been talking about potting up.
If not, best of fun with your 5 litre to 6 litre pot.
I'd say my top tip would be, a lot of people are still potting up without the use of mycorrhiza or beneficial bacteria. Always use it. The best time to use your mycorrhizas, it's your best time to use your beneficials. So use them because it's going to decrease the amount of stress your plant suffers.
What are you talking about again? Are you talking about these little critters?
These little critters.
Okay.
These little critters. And
these healthy critters.
healthy, happy critters.
Okay.
Now, we're going to be going into a load more detail on them in future episodes and future seasons, but it's important to know, start researching them now. There's some great ones out there, such as Eco-Thrive Charge you've seen in the lab.
So, this is what you've been doing? Microbe month?
Microbe month, do you get it now?
Load of rubbish.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Science versus skeptic. It's coming soon on podcast.
Well, I reckon it's a load of crap.
I know you do. That's the scientist that's going to batter you on this one now.
We'll see.
Let them know what your top tip is for transplanting.
What do you mean, transplanting?
You know, like a heart to heart. Let's have our heart to heart.
Or are you talking about the first initial stage of growth?
That's it.
Okay, why have I always got to do your job? So basically what Stephen's talking about, he's talking about transplanting a small, tiny baby into the first stage of its afterlife.
Afterlife. It hasn't died. I know top cropper tends to kill these plants.
No, but it's about to live on to this new experience.
Oh, to next life.
This new experience of somebody's where if they don't look after it properly, it's going to go through some serious afterlives.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go from transplanting, which is a small baby, fertile, very fragile, and we're going to take it from its initial umbilical cord, and we're going to release it into the world.
Okay.
Via a pot.
A pot.
A pot or a system.
What is your best top tip, number one advice for when people are transplanting?
When these plants are very small, little tiny babies, like Stephen, what you've got to do is really mollycoddle them and look after them. And the key to this is humidity. It's the level of moisture in the air.
Good.
Now, if this is less than 70% and you transplant these babies, they are going to stop and they are not going to do anything. They're going to appear to look very good, and you're going to be looking at them and looking at your watch and then ticking the weeks off your calendar because it's not going to do a single thing.
We've experienced this before.
So you may need to put an old Pepsi bottle cut in half over the top.
What if you drink Coke?
Diet Coke could be an option.
Okay.
However, you need to propagate it a little bit further. You need to nurture it along. You need to increase the humidity. You may need to add a humidifier, not a dehumidifier which removes it, a humidifier which places moisture into the air. Mm-hmm. Your humidity level should be between 70 and 90% in the growth phase. Mm-hmm. When transplanting a plant, it's my top tip to make sure your humidity level is spot on.
That's it. It's the end of episode 6, potting up and transplanting. I just want to say thank you once again to everyone that likes, comments and subscribes to the show. Really does mean a lot in us getting the show up and off the ground.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say to everybody who hasn't, hurry up and get a move on. Share, like and subscribe to the NPK Show, npktechnology.co.uk.
And if you're into the grind, then P110 is going to come up here. Check them out, like and subscribe to them. And if you're into your real sexual music, get on Murky Waters right here. He's got some lovely tunes coming up. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and we will be back next week, and we're talking about getting veggie. See you next week.
Bye-bye.